Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for some more of the URC, which is a competition that we haven't had a lot of throughout the last little while. Of course, with the Six Nations taking place, it has been put on the back foot, but the South African derbies are now here. 2 in a row, Lions versus Bulls, followed by Sharks versus Stormers. Looking at the table, the Bulls are in 5th, but there is a lot of ground that can be made up, including a first place position. They can win this game up against the Lions away from home by the bonus point, whereas the Lions, if they win this game, they have the potential of shooting all the way up to 7th. Now, these two sides played off only a few weeks ago, and it was an extremely close game, so I feel like this one could be no different, and perhaps some would even give the slight edge to the home side, the Lions, for this match. But looking through at the starting lineup, it will be JP Smith at number 1, Jaco Visagie at 2, and Nalapakaye as the number 3. Oosthuizen and Notango will be the combination of the locking duo, Sergil Finta and Frankie Horn to close out the Lions. 4-pack Monte Vandenberg at number 9 with Sanele Nohamba as the 10. Now that combination has been working quite nicely for the Lions throughout their last few contests. Marius Lowe, the battering ram, at number 12, and Henko van Wyk on the outside. Edward van der Merwe out on one wing, Richard Creel out on the other, and then Juan Horn there at number 15. Then for the away side, the Bulls, they have gone with Stennekamp, Grobler, as well as Mornay Smith in the front row, Ludwig, as well as Nokia in the locking duo. Now, those are two men that could actually change this game for the Bulls, because if they can't quite get the line out right, the Lions, it's probably because of these two men either slapping it away to the Bulls side, just causing disruption. Nokia, he's a fiery individual. Ludwig has been in some sensational form. So I think they will be a combo to watch. Maka van Staren at number 6 with Heinrich Lowe and Honeycomb as the number 8. Ambros Papier and Jaco van der Volt as the fly half. David Creel, Stedman Hans, midfield combo. Kanan Moody, Kutley Arendse and Devon Williams and number 15. So for the Bulls, there are a couple players missing. Villiers Leroux, probably the most notable from that backline, but this is the first game, I believe, for Kutley Arendse in quite a bit of time in that backline. So I do hope he does very well. But in the chat, we have got Sup from Amelia. Welcome well. You're looking lively for 2 a.m. Hammy, says Yvonne. I think I'm almost at the stage how I've woken myself up. Had a couple hour nap before this, and now we're good to go. Hopefully, we will be wide awake throughout both of the matches. The Bulls win, says Manny M. And hello, Hammy, hope you are well. Says Bads Ablaze in there as well. But this game only a few minutes away from kicking off, ladies and gentlemen. Six Nations, of course, has been put on the back foot for this week, seeing as the URC is back. We're going to get to see Leinster Benetton just a little bit later on tonight, as well as, like I mentioned, the Stormers when they do take on the Sharks, which will be a very awesome game. But the last time that these two sides played, it was 30 points to 28 in favour of the Bulls. Now, it was an extremely close fixture. The Lions, they had a kick to make it a draw, couldn't quite get it. And I feel like if there had been a draw, no one really would have complained. Both sides played extremely well throughout times, but also just leaked a few too many points at other times. So, yeah, this game, I have no idea whether it's going to be a high-scoring one or a low score. I feel like there is a potential that it could be quite low-scoring, a little bit similar to what the Lions had with Montpellier throughout their European Challenge Cup. Of course, that is coming back in the near future. The round of 16 is just around the corner. Quite a few matchups from the Champions Cup side of things that we have already seen. In the Bulls' case, they are taking on Lyon. But for the Bulls, their recent form, they beat Bordeaux in the Champions Cup, scoring 46 points, 31 up against Bristol, 20 and 28. So what it tells you is the Bulls know how to get at least 20 points in a game. Sometimes it's enough, sometimes it's not enough. If it's in the URC, or that game up against Lyon, it was not quite enough, but they have got their rematch just around the corner that they will be taking part in. We have got their hard-to-believe Leinster versus Benetton. It's top of the table clash. Yeah, the URC this year, I mean, people underrate what Benetton have been able to do. Like, you look at a side that only, I would say, half a year, if not a year ago, everyone went, nah, easy beats, we'll take them down. And now they're like, oh, top of the table or close to the top of the table. Like, the crazy thing is the Bulls, like I mentioned, they are in 6th, right? 5th, sorry. My apologies. If they win this game, the URC is that close. boom, you go straight up to number 1. If you get the bonus point, even if they don't, as long as they get themselves a victory here, they will be sitting above Leinster, and then that becomes the game that will determine who takes number 1. And then there are other games throughout the weekend that could also determine who go up, depending on who wins the Benetton versus Leinster game. So every point at this stage is crucial. The Sharks need to start ascending, I think is the best way of describing it. They are a little bit too far down the bottom. 1 win from 8 is almost unbelievable for a side with the caliber of players that they've got. But these other South African sides, the Lions, they have a chance of making it into the top 8 if they manage to pull off the win here. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what they can do. And this backline of the Bulls, with Kirtley Arendse being back with Kane and Moody, it's looking like a Bok future lineup that we might end up. Sam, can you cover Penrith versus Wigan for the World Club Cup on the 24th of February? It's a tricky one, mainly because 24th of February, I believe we've got quite a few other streams that we want to do, but also I think I'm also coming back from a wedding on that day-ish, so it might be a little bit tricky, but we'll see how we go. And Kia ora Padza, I don't know how to link, says Naz Williams. And how do you watch these games on Rugby Pass TV? So I didn't know it was on Rugby Pass TV. Is it free on Rugby Pass TV, Novma? Because if it is, that is quite handy. I watch it on TVNZ Plus here in New Zealand as well. So if you guys do want to watch these games for free and you have a TVNZ Plus account, which is pretty much just you put your email in TVNZ, you'll be able to watch the game as well. So that is how I end up seeing them. But looks like a decent crowd. A lot of people in the shade at the moment on one side of this ground. The other side, not so full. That is looking straight into the sun. Can be a bit of a mission at times. Definitely if your eyes are not accustomed to it. You ever tried looking straight up at the sun? It's not fun. It hurts quite a bit actually, but of course just around the corner, Super Rugby. I don't know what kind of transition that is, but it is almost here, ladies and gents, and we will be covering it on the channel, as well as the Six Nations. And my bad, kia ora, Hamish the man, says Naz Wilkins, or Wilkins, I'm not sure where that's come from. I think that was Welcome, but combined with Williams. But yeah, hope you are doing well, mate. Hope you are excited for the 2 back-to-back matches that we have got of the URC. Of course, the Bulls versus Lions taking place first. The 2 sides just about to make their way out onto the field. Lions with home field advantage. They lost by 2 points the last time that these 2 sides met. Can't wait for the Springboks in New Zealand. Says Joseph Weber. And the thing is, it's going to be here before we know it. Similar to the World Cup, I remember when we were saying it's about 1,050 days from the World Cup getting underway, and then all of a sudden it happened. We covered every single game, and we're going to be doing the same with the international rugby schedule in July as well. And how do you rate England's chances against the All Blacks? It's very hard to tell because England at the moment throughout the Six Nations, in my opinion, have not performed that well. But then saying that, they're still sitting pretty decently on the table. You know, they've had probably their 2 easier games to start it off. So I want to see them up against Ireland. I want to see them up against France. And then we'll have a little bit of a better determiner of how well they're going to do. Their top tier seats look very steep, says Novmum. They do. Right at the back there looks like you're pretty much climbing a vertical mountain to get up to the top. But it's probably a good place to see the game from if you like watching little ants running around. And no, England will not win, says Joseph Weber. And there as well. Just showing the Lions lineup. Of course, this back line is something to watch out for. Vandenberg alongside Norhumba. Then you got Aka van der Merwe. Edwin van der Merwe alongside Marius Lowe, Van Vink in the midfield, and Creel and Horn. I should mention off the bench in this game. A little bit of firepower for both of these teams. Quite a bit of experience for the Bulls in regards of Johan Goosen. Also, they have got Gumedi, who is certainly a future maybe Springbok if he keeps on playing the way that he is. Marcel Kurtzia is there. Keegan Johannes and Aka van der Merwe. That is where that name does end up coming in. For the Lions, they have got Cronje, Jordan Hendrickse, JC Pretorius, who I'm hoping gets a few minutes. I know he doesn't normally get a huge amount for the Lions, but he has got the ability in the breakdown to turn over the ball at crucial times And that may be exactly what the Lions need later on in a game to be able to help them secure it. But this backline of the Bulls with Arinsa, Moody and Devin Williams as the back three, Stedman Hans in the midfield alongside Creel. It's going to be a good one, ladies and gents. And it is just around the corner. Speaking of around the corner, the next games of the URC for these sides, the Bulls are going to be taking on the Stormers. That is in 2 weeks' time. So another rest week of the Six Nations competition. The Bulls taking on the Dragons. That is in 35 days. So it's a little bit strange in terms of the amount of time that we have to wait for URC games. Like theoretically, we're going to see 4 URC games across 9 weeks, which sounds a bit weird, but there are a lot of rests, there are a lot of travelling implications for the side, so that is why the schedule is that little bit lighter. And then for the Lions, they've got their game in 2 weeks' time that will be up against the Sharks, so the South African side's just having a little bit of a playing amongst themselves stage of the URC competition. Then they've got Connacht, as well as the Ospreys, and then down here up against Leinster, but their last 16 match of the Europeans Challenge Cup, they will be up against Benetton. That could be a very awesome game because both of those sides, they're doing, I would say, statistically better in the URC than they did last year. So I think that could be maybe match of that round. We'll have to wait and see though. And good day, me old mateys, or all me mateys. Says Manil, welcome in. And also we have got there, I believe that the two Van der Merwes are brothers. Says Alfie Vesa. Am I correct in saying that Richard and David Creel are also siblings? Or is that the wrong Creel that I've got there? Because there's quite a few family feuds that are taking place at the moment. They might be. I'm just looking at Edward van der Merwe closely. He's got the same mustache as Aka van der Merwe. And always excited when you're on, brother. And also really calming and therapeutic. Jeez, that's big praise. Nars Williams, no fake. I was here when under 10K, I know you were. And we've had you here for a very long time. And it is very greatly appreciated that you get up at these random hour of the night to watch these streams with us as well, which is always great to see. All the familiar faces. I saw we had Yvonne, we had Novma, and we had Patty all here before the start of the stream, which was also pretty cool to see. Edville is the brother of another mother. From another mother. That was me trying to sound gangster, and all I said was mudder, which I feel like does not sound very gangster at all. Do you think USC is better than Super Rugby? Depends on who you ask. I feel like I love both competitions because they are different in their own unique ways. And I watched the Chiefs vs Crusaders on Friday. Says Noman, we've just had the quickest penalty, I would say, of URC for 2024. That is already going to be the penalty to the Lions, who did kick off from right to left, and then they were offside. So the Lions, they're taking on the early 3 points here. So exactly what they would have wanted. And mate, this heat is turning me into a night owl. I just woke up and it's still hot at 9 o'clock, says Kit Zanel. And I don't follow rugby, but I'm still here, says BRB. And that is also greatly appreciated. Is it Detroit Lions? It is the Emirates Lions. So South African side in the URC competition. Going head to head with a fellow South African team and the Bulls. All of these South African sides named after animals apart from the Stormers, which is not an animal that I know of. Now Nahamba to line up this kick only 1 minute into the contest. It's a little bit breezy, but he's managed to sneak it in the posts. And that'll now make the score 3 points to 0 after only 1 minute 20. Now that is a great start. That is about the best start that they could have had in this matchup. You want to be able to apply that early pressure, which is exactly what they've been able to do. Looks like the VODACOM Bulls now, they'll be kicking this one off. And then send it high, Jaco van der Walt. The Lions now cleaning this one up just inside of their 22 now with Frankie Horn. Maka van Staden already throwing fists at someone's arm. Looks like they're trying to hold Gerhard Stenkamp into the breakdown, which has not made him too happy. He's now got a hand on his chest. This is looking a bit scrappy early on. It's rugby similar to American football. A little bit. So pretty much the easiest way of saying, compared to American football, they don't have as many stoppages in terms of like the different phases, or I don't know what they call it, and like they won't have fourth down or anything like that. They'll just be playing back to back to back, and you actually can take the ball in the breakdown or when the ball goes to ground in rugby. So it's a bit more free-flowing than American football. Also takes about half the time to complete. Did you see New Zealand finally winning a series over South Africa in the test matches? I did. Yes, it's a very, I guess, different scenario in terms of the team that we saw South Africa put out, but New Zealand still had to work hard in that last test match. They almost got a little bit too complacent. South Africa had a decent enough total ahead, but in the end, New Zealand, with Williamson, of course, getting over the line. You will probably see me drinking quite a bit of water. Today we did have cricket earlier on, and as always, I think I got dehydrated. First scrum of the day for the Lions now. About to be fed in. Morne Vandenberg. Come on, mate, put it in. Yep, he has. That's a sentence I've never said before, by the way. Now off to the left-hand side. Nohamba kicks it in behind, trying to find a little bit of open space for the Lions. Just trying to force the balls deeper. Didn't quite get it right, though. He wanted a few more meters on it. Does go into touch. And 7 centuries in 7 matches. He's on fire right now, says BRB. I mean, you still got to bowl right lines and hit the ball. So it's not much difference, says Beds of Blaze. And like we saw for the West Indies as well, like these young guys are actually some of the ones with the most fight in a match, which is quite good to see. Flat run there. Oh no, it's another penalty. 12 breaking is the penalty that has been given. So that is against David Kriel. Looks like a little bit of an injury to the ear of Cameron Honeycomb, but this will be another 3 points for the Lions. Nice easy kick, a goal for Nohamba. And let's see this year, New Zealand Springboks will be so nice, can't wait. Says Joseph Weber. Yeah, it will certainly be a game that a lot of people are looking forward to, including myself. I feel like it has got the potential of being one of the best games that we have seen. Neil Brand also had a good debut series, that says BRB. That is true. Bedingham as well, I think, is another player for South Africa that they now can rely on as an option in that lineup. And I feel like, because similar to how I felt about the West Indies, like because those young guys did come on this tour, you've got to give them a bit more credit than some of those guys who did chase franchise money, because every year around this time, those South African players are going to be playing in the SA20. Someone like Bedingham, who turned down the SA20 competition to be able to have a chance of test match cricket. That is actually missed from Nohamba, so unfortunately for him, the score will remain at 3-0. What's New Zealand's fast bowler? He did look good. Was that? Oh, it's the tall fella. And we've seen him a lot in domestic and also the most recent T20 series. I can literally see him. He kind of looks like Ben O'Keefe in terms of a comparison to rugby. Can't think of his name, but I know exactly who you're talking about. Back around 4 from Fanta. He's at it stripped though. Great bit of work there from Cameron Honeycomb. Now Ambrose Papier looking for his next passing option. Goes off to Richard Krill. Now Van der Walt. O'Rourke, that's the one. Now big run from Mako, a fun start, and goes straight into another Kanye. Elric Lowe now 40 metres out from the line for the Bulls, who are at a 3-0 deficit currently. But Stedman Hahn sells the dummy, passes it forward to Kana Moody. And now they will go back for the original scrum. Going backwards, says the referee, Jacobs. Stedman Hahn's just looking for that miracle pass to Kana Moody, who is running straight into 2 more Lions defenders. There weren't too many gaps available for them and Hans. But great turnover initially from Cameron Honeycomb to be able to get that turnover. But looks like time is off at the moment. 8 on Leinster match or Connor. Says Connor, we are not. No, we are doing the Stormers versus Sharks match that has taken place at the same time as that fixture. But we will, of course, be giving updates of what is happening in that game as it happens. So it was actually a little bit above the ear. I think the side of the head, bit of a cut on the hairline of Cameron Honeycomb. And Trent Bolt is coming back to the T20s. Are you excited? I'll be interested to see how he goes. And I hope that it doesn't take away from a young or a younger player for New Zealand to get that opportunity, like an O'Rourke or like Ben Sears or any of those younger guys who have had a bit more of a crack lately with Bolt being away. Did you see the Munster match last night? I actually did not, believe it or not. I don't actually know who they played, to be honest. Who did they play? It was this morning, wasn't it, that it took place, or at least this last morning New Zealand time. But I think just as it was about to start, I was getting ready for cricket, so I didn't actually get to catch any of it. Now the scrum just about to take place. Like I mentioned, it's quite a packed crowd on the near side when it is in the shade, but on the far side in the sun, people do not look so packed in. Scarlets, that's the one. Did they win? I'd assume that they should have beaten the Scarlets, shouldn't they? If I had to guess a score, I would say, did they have the Irish players though? I would say the Munster, if I had to guess, 32-17 or something like that. About 15-point win. I collapsed at the end. Okay, so it should have been, it would have been closer then if they had a bit of a collapse. A nice step there from Juan Horn, and Scarlets lost to Munster. Says Connor. Vandenberg going back across to Nachel. We have got there. What do you enjoy more, rugby or cricket? It depends on the day, but also the fact that we can watch both of them and they are very different, I feel like is great. And I love the fact that I do enjoy both of them. Looks like it's a bit scrappy there. It's not backwards, says the referee. So we'll be play on, and Bros Papier goes back to, once again, Van der Vault, who is waiting in the pocket, has put this one extremely high. Oh, it was 45-10 or something. Okay, so they collapsed from already being down, which is not a good way of collapsing. Did both sides have their international players, or was it the B sides or the experimental teams? That's a big kick downfield from the Bulls, but that has gone dead for Devon Williams, and they'll go right back to where it was kicked from. I know you play cricket. Do you also play rugby? I do not know. I used to when I was a lot younger, but yeah, don't play it now. Unfortunately, to be fair, I get enough bruises as it is from cricket. I think I've got about 10 on me at the moment from getting hit with a cricket ball. Should start using my bat a bit more, besides, says Yvonne. I guess that just shows you Munster's depth, though, and maybe the lack thereof of, unfortunately, the Scarlets, but Carberry played really well, says Yvonne, and that's probably a good player to have in good form at the moment for Ireland, just in case anything happens for Crowley or anything along those lines, who I think has also been in some sensational form throughout the Six Nations. But Morne Vandenberg about to feed the ball in again for scrum, 25 metres out from the Bulls line. This is the chance for the Lions to really start attacking, put the pressure on. And they just showed an interesting stat, which was that the Lions actually have the best scrum in the URC with a percentage of 98%. So who's the Tom Brady in rugby? Oh, it's actually tricky because at one point a lot of people would have said maybe Bowden Barrett, but I don't know if that's the case anymore. There's a lot of players that are good in their individual positions, like quite a few forwards are at the top of their game currently. Kirkley Aronsa getting the offload on the inside. But yeah, it's a tricky one. There are a lot of great players across a lot of different positions, but the quarterback, I guess, would have to be the halfback. So best halfback in the world, some would argue, probably Antoine Dupont. But then saying that, he's currently not playing rugby because he's playing rugby. He's just gone to rugby sevens. Oh, great take in the air from Elric Lowe. We always know Nohamba will put himself in the air, but doesn't quite have that height advantage to be able to get that little bit of extra leap on it. Little kick him behind from the Bulls and just goes into touch. And my internet is not working right, says a BRB. To be fair, mine's not too flash either lately. It hopefully will last throughout this stream and the next one. So last week we had a few technical difficulties. Last time you went to the Galleon bowling. What was the food like? Was not any good when we went the other day, says Kiwi Game. But that's a shame. Like last time we went, I thought it was decent. We just got like a bundle type thing, or like a, what's it called? Like a share basket type arrangement. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame that it isn't too good. Now, nice run forward for Reniard Ludwig. Bruce Papier going back across to the left-hand side. Big shot coming in again. That was Honeycomb. We can now recognise him easily because he has got all that strapping around his head from where he's taken a bit of a knock already. Gerhard Stinnekamp tackled by his opposite man in the scrum. Van der Vault getting the offload away to Stedman Hans. And the Lions win the penalty in the breakdown. Looks hot on that pitch, says Yvonne. Yeah, it looks pretty warm at the moment. I'm sure that someone in South Africa will be able to let me know exactly what temperature they are sitting at this game, but I believe it would be in the 30s at the moment. It looks pretty dry. They will need a drinks break at some stage throughout this first half, and I don't blame them one bit. Now the Lions, they will be able to kick this ball towards the touchline with Nohamba. And current world champions in rugby, that is the Springboks, back-to-back world champions. 2023 World Cup in France and 2019 World Cup in Japan. Which I said very hesitantly. It's weird, isn't it? The Japanese World Cup feels like so long ago. But it was only like 4 and a bit years. Now, line-out throw for Iako Versace. It's going to be claimed nicely by Notangil, who didn't expect it. Now, Hamba almost had his pass stolen by Edward van der Merwe, who has yet to get his hands on the ball throughout this game. Now back into the pocket comes Juan Horn. Getting it straight up into the sun. Kane and Moody running onto it. Has slapped it back onto the side of the Bulls. And great counter run from Honeycomb, but he's knocked it on. Just had his arm slightly knocked as he was about to get the pass away. Vandenberg's kicked it out on the floor. I don't think that was on purpose, but they will now go back for the original knock-on. And it will once again be the Lions scrum feed. So they have had a lot of the early possession throughout this game, which is exactly what they need to do because we know how many early tries that the Bulls have scored throughout their URC season. They're the type of team that when they get their momentum, they'll just keep going and often get back-to-back tries. Lions haven't allowed that as of yet. But that's not to say that it isn't just around the corner. The Bulls have had 3 handling errors, which they wouldn't normally have in the early stages of their URC fixtures. But we've also got to remember, these sides haven't played for about maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks, somewhere around there. So there will be a bit of rust for the players, and it is hard to keep them flowing when they've got such a stop-start schedule over the next 9 or so weeks. They will play 5 games. So there are 4 weeks where they have to sit and watch all the other rugby around the world. Not exactly a bad thing, but I'm sure they'd rather be out there making up those extra points. I'm jealous of people like you who speak multiple languages. Out of curiosity, BRB, other than English, what other language do I speak? Just out of curiosity, because I can't think of many. I can say like a sentence in a couple languages, but like other than a sentence, I'm pretty novice, I guess. Amone Vandenberg in the scrumming now, already 15 minutes through this fixture for these two sides. Of course, the next game taking place just around the corner. There will be an exciting contest taking place between the Sharks and The Stormers cross kick has worked. No, Creel just runs out of space. Maori, because you're from New Zealand. I am, but I can't say much in Maori. Like, I could work out what people are saying some of the time. Like, I know the basics from school, but like in terms of a conversation in Maori, I would really struggle unless like I was about to see them the next week. Then that's one of the only sentences that I know. You do a good accent, says Yvonne. I feel like I'm still confused at why I can roll my R's, to be honest, because no one else in my family, I believe, can. Maybe my dad can, but yeah, a lot of the family can't do a tongue roll, so I have no idea where it's come from. But it's quite effective at times, and it's quite prominent at times. Well, big hit from Juan Horn, and nicely taken by Devin Williams inside of his 22. Very well to be able to take that one. Juan Horn saying, get back there. USA doesn't even have a national language. I barely speak English, says a BRB. So what's a language that you wish you could speak? BRB. I feel like I'd love to speak. I know a little tiny bit of Portuguese. Nowhere near enough, though. So Portuguese, I think, would be mine, or French. I speak a bit of French. Everyone loves a French accent. But then I don't think I'll ever go to France. So what would be the point in a French vocabulary? That's a good question, actually, for the chat, ladies and gentlemen. What language, if you could learn one, would you want to learn? Kia ora, Horn. Just not quite getting the jump right. We have got another scrum here, this time for the Bulls. It's like Cameron Honeycomb already getting worked off his feet with the amount that we have seen. See, I assume that's like something France. Living in the Caribbean, Spanish would be useful. Cheers, Yvonne. 18.5 gone in this game. I feel like those people are like, oh, I know 17 languages. Like, I'm not saying they're showing off, but they are showing off just a little bit, you know. And I know Spanish and Dutch, mate, says Luke. Japanese, says Pads Ablaze. I feel like Japan would be a good place to go. Seems like everyone's very respectful there. And good French accent. See, bonjour, I know is that first part. Felicitation? What does that mean? Right, another scrum, which we have had a lot of, I should mention, throughout the first little while of this game, but that is understandable. It is hot, which means that the slippery ball situation is definitely going to be happening. And Emirates Papier to feed this ball in. Hamish tried to learn Hungarian. I mean, if I was planning on going to Hungary, it could be useful. A big push there. Advantage to the Bulls and Cameron Honeycomb. Breaking off the back now, and Bros Papier pins his ears back. Got Moody on the inside. And just like that, he gets back up and goes again, Moody. And scores the try because he wasn't held. The Bulls, I said it earlier on, they only need one chance. Now, the win predictor came up before, and the Lions were 66% likely to win this game according to the odds. But now that that try has been scored by the Bulls, you definitely have to say that the momentum has gone back in their favour. But it was a big scrum from the Bulls, being able to drive the Lions backwards, and then Ambrose Papier just showing off his pace. And great work from Cana Moody to be able to finish the job. As Moody playing on the left wing. He is on the left wing for this. Oh, Actually, well, he's playing 14 for this match, but he is listed as the 11 on the team sheet that I've got. So I think he's switched wings. So he's actually on the right wing at this stage. I like the Italian coach speaks loads of languages, English, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian. But the last four definitely are linked. Ain't going to go now, but I'll be back again, says BRB, so we will see you later on. Now lining up this kick, Van der Vault. And just goes away to the left-hand side. So that will keep the score after 21 minutes at 3 points to 5. In favour now of the away side. First time in the match that they have been in the lead is off the try of Kana Moody. I heard the Japanese live for a long time, says a BRB there. Oh, you had a nice back for half a second, Kana Moody, but then he was told, come on, we're going to keep on going. Sure, there will be plenty of drinks, though, being run on and off the field. In fact, they just had the water break. That was actually one of the shorter water breaks I think we have seen for the URC. Normally, we end up seeing maybe about 3 or 4 minutes. I think that they did a majority of their water break during the kick of Van der Vault, which is a good way to do it. Now, kicked off high by Kjuan Horn. Taken inside of that 22, and Bruce Papia taking plenty of time. That one's been put high. Has gone out about 35 metres from the Bulls line. And Hamish, if you could coach any club team in the world, what team would it be? Ugh. Well, I'm not a good coach. I know that much. I'd probably club side. So we're saying, like, I'd like to coach a lower level side. To be honest, like a local team would be quite cool, even though I would not be qualified to get that job, just because then you get to really get a feel of grassroots rugby. And I feel like that's always pretty awesome to see. So I'd say like South Canterbury, that would be quite cool. Even going to their game last year a couple of times was pretty awesome. And Lions 26, the Bulls 25, Sharks 30, Stormers 26 for Eddie's predictions there. So 2 very close games. And to be honest, when South African sides make their way onto the field, it does seem to be that we do get some extremely close fixtures between the two teams. Right, I think we're actually now getting the official water break for these two sides. They are just showing the replay of the try, but it should be a Lions line out here. Going to have more water. I think this is going to be empty by the end of these two live streams. Kana Moody rated 7th in the entire URC competition. With tries like that, you can understand why. Nicely claimed for the Lions here. Now, big run for Marius Lowe has knocked that ball on. That's actually one of the first times we have seen Marius Lowe touch the ball. And unfortunately, once again, the ball has been dropped. A lot of early handling errors from both of these sides. That was very strategically done by Johan Robela, who just got that arm in underneath, gave the ball a little flick. It was a loose carry from Lowe. Now again, we have got ourselves a scrum for the Bulls. I mean, back-to-back-to-back scrums are not a bad thing if you are dominating the scrum, and that is where the Bulls find themselves at the moment. They've had a lot of scrums against the feed, but now that they're starting to get to put the ball in, they won an advantage off their last, and they actually scored a try off their last play from a scrum. Not moving too much there, though. Van der Vault going off to Devon Williams. Puts the ball in behind it. Is bouncing high. Nice take from Kjuan Horn at the back. Edward van der Merwe trying to go straight through the gap. It's being taken down. Oh, 7's next weekend. So much rugby on. There certainly is. And that is also the weekend that I have my cousin's wedding on the Friday. So it's going to be a bit of a tricky weekend to be able to balance all the rugby, because of course we want to do as much of the rugby as we can, but there will be times where we will have other commitments. So yeah, it's going to be a stressful weekend, I think. We're all trying to get everything organised, and great to see a few back for the Sharks on the bench. They haven't given the man a lot of chances. Says Luke, that is true. But yeah, Nyanti off the bench, I think is going to be one to definitely watch out for the Sharks late in that game. Oh, another penalty, this time going against the Lions. And morning, Hamish, morning, all says David the Mole. Welcome in, mate. You are doing very well for this nice early start on a Sunday morning. That ball's gone out for Jaco van der Walt. Oh, okay, he's tried to kick it for the corner, but he's actually kicked it dead here for Jaco van der Walt. Not reading the wind. Yeah, just getting the wrong angle. It's been almost 10 years since I went to a wedding. I think it's about the same for me. I think I was in my first or second year of high school. How old am I? It's like 4 or 5 years since I was at school. Isn't that a bit weird? Well, actually closer to 5 or 6 because, yeah, I didn't go after I finished. I don't even know what to wear to a wedding. I'll be honest, I haven't picked what I'm supposed to be wearing as of yet. I'll probably have to throw something on at the last minute and hope that it's all right. It's not a suit kind of for me anyway, because I'm just a cousin. So I feel like it's not a suit scenario, even though, of course, as you guys know, we have a suit. Kaner Moody, a little bit of a fumble with the ball right deep inside our Bulls territory, but he has kicked the ball back. Nohamba running onto it nicely. Now hoping that the ball will beat the man by going out wide to Kuan Horn. Being shut down early by David Kriel. Time flies, Hamish. It does. Oh, it's another knock on, this time from Nohamba. And Marius Lowe doing good to get the ball back. But now another line out. Oh, sorry, another scrum. And Manly 22, Roosters 36 in the preseason. So here's Manny M. I heard about Nkosi, Hamish. I have not, no. Not unless you're talking about what happened last year or the year. No, it was last year, wasn't it? Time does fly. And you can see the frustration on the face of the Lions coach. At the end of the day, they've had some very good plays here. They just keep on putting that ball down at the wrong time, and that is allowing the Bulls to keep that scrum strong, keep getting those little advantages every once in a while, and then, of course, Kaner Moody being able to finish the last time that they did break through. Bulls the best Bok team. Is that in terms of like numbers of Springbok players? I know that they've got Vili LaRue, Kaner Moody, and Kitley Arendse. They haven't got too many in terms of the fullback, other than probably Mako van Staren and a little bit of Ruan Nokia. But I'd say the Sharks would have more Springboks, if I'm correct, or the Stormers. No, I think the Sharks would. Who they got? They got Khaleesi, Etzebeth, Mapimpi, Lukanyawam, Oxnashare. Who else have they got? I'm sure you guys will help me out. There's a couple others, though, I think, in that Sharks team. Of course, he has joined the Cheetahs on a one-year deal. I did not know. That good on him. Hopefully he does play very well. It's going to be a great year of rugby. So here's David the Mold. It certainly is. Now 27 and a half minutes through in this game, and we are up to probably our 8th scrum of this match. We've probably had one every 2 or 3 minutes just in the last little while. That was either a plane or a very large bird that just flew over the ground. Massive shadow getting cast. If there are birds that size in South Africa, I don't think I'll be going there anytime soon, but I believe it was a plane. Another advantage for the Bulls. Honeycomb goes off to Van der Walt. He's broken the line. He had Moody with him, but he couldn't get the pass away in time. And now the counter-attack coming for the Lions. Big attack and run from Frankie Horn, who also finds himself in the top 100 players of the URC. Big sell on the dummy from Nohamba. Trying to break the line now. Gets his offload up to Versace. Does get driven backwards by Eric Lowe. Oh, he might have an injury here. Looks like maybe the left nose. Is he fine? I can't tell if he's all right, Elric Lowe. He looked like he was grimacing, and now he's kind of like, nah, I'm all right. In fact, he might have got a boot to the balls, might be what ended up hurting Elric Lowe there. And Hamish, what's up, buddy? Says, going welcome in. Now, Vandenberg puts the ball high. Nokia trying to charge down, but not able to do so. They forgot about the wind, and that'll be kicked out on the full by the Lions. Now, another opportunity for the Bulls to create another attacking chance. But a great break once again coming from the penalty advantage of scrum time. Just a great bit of work overall there. Now it's going to be thrown over the top. Visachi. No able to break his way through, and that's going to be the penalty again. That's going to be against Kane and Moody for hands in the ruck. It seems like both of the sides are almost like they're stopping themselves from having a free-flowing game, if that makes sense. Like the Bulls, they had their chance, but then they give away the penalty. The Lions, they have their chance, and then they knock the ball on. And there's just these little things at the moment which is stopping this game from being as free-flowing as I believe both of these sides want. The score is very less as compared. The time elapsed about 43 minutes, says coding there. But yeah, 29 minutes through. It is a relatively low-scoring game, but it was something we tried to predict before the game. I said it was either going to be very high-scoring or quite a test match feel of having to take every opportunity that you have. Should mention Nohamba has actually missed a kick earlier on in the day. So the crowd are absolutely loving it at the moment. The atmosphere is very awesome. Just talking about the fact that school kids actually get them for free at the ground. Do you think Lahore going to beat Islamabad? I don't actually know who's in either of the teams, to be honest. I haven't looked into it too much, but I'm sure I'll get some highlights at some stage in the future. Looks like AJ Jacobs is going to have a bit of a chat to the Bulls. Nice Puma t-shirt. Says coding. Fun fact, the Pumas, they are actually a South African team, but not this logo specifically. There you go. I actually see Moody as the captain for the Box. Not really. I've never heard the man talk. Like, I'm sure he does, but I don't know if he's high up there in terms of the captaincy. I think for the South Africans at the moment, it's probably... Oh, now that's a question, ladies and gentlemen, that I will ask. Top 5 at the moment in the Springboks current squad for captaincy. Of course, Kolisi, you put at the top. I'd probably go Etzebeth at 2. Then do they look at someone like a de Klerk or a Willie LaRue probably as the next up there in terms of rankings? Who could be Lukanyawam? Maybe? Penalty again. I've just realised I've listed a lot of Sharks players there. A great work from the Bulls on the breakdown. Johan Grovala winning the not releasing penalty for his side. Trying to think of who else in that 4-pack. I don't think Marks has ever shown any interest in being captain. He's more of just, I want to go out there and I want to do my job. Plus, if they bring him off the bench all the time, probably doesn't work. So you need someone who's going to play a majority of the minutes as well in the game. Brilliantly done from Johan Grovala to win the penalty. Now he's got himself the line out. Try and give the Bulls a bit more of an advantage. Wasn't the straightest throw ever, but AJ Jacobs says straight enough. Oh, good low tackle made on Mako van Staden by Marius Lowe. Gets out of the way. Guamedi is on the field. I'm not actually too sure who that is for yet, as Honeycomb. Oh, that might actually be for Elric Lowe. I mentioned how it looked like he was injured, and then he kind of gritted his teeth and went, oh well. But I think he has actually gone off for some sort of either HIA or just maybe he's gone off due to an injury. Do you think Kane outscore Smith in terms of hundreds after the series? Says coding. I mean, he's slowly catching him, Kane Williamson. If he can do it on overseas tours, I think that will help him drastically in terms of catching up with Steve Smith, who does do very well in Australia as well as England. Normally other two locations we see a lot of runs from Steve Smith, but he's been struggling a bit more recently. He hasn't got 100 in a while, just like myself, sadly. Moody at the moment doesn't look like captain material, says Mimanair. Yeah, he doesn't seem like he's the voice of the field, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of these players, you know when you just get a sense that a guy's a good player and could be considered as a captain's option? It's going to be the penalty now to the Bulls. If they take the 3, they'll be ahead by 5. But if they go for the corner, which I think that they might consider, mainly because they are a side that enjoys scoring bonus points, and they do actually need one to be able to take a 1-point advantage. Both are tied at 3300s. So here's coding. It's going to be kicked for the corner this time. Jaco van der Valk does get it right. That kick towards the corner. One Sia Eben Peter Steff. That's a good shout. Andre. Okay, interesting. So, well, kind of interesting in a way that you put Bongi as your 6th option, even though the Springboks see him as that backup for Khaleesi at this current point in time. I'll be honest, I think Bongi, the benefit he is he's always going to be chatting to the ref whether he's captain or not, so you might as well make him captain so he doesn't get in trouble for it. It's going to be advantage over, clearing their lines there, the Lions. They have been under quite a bit of pressure. Now, Humber asking for a few extra metres from the touch judge does decline his offer. I just don't think they're getting off to the flying start that the Lions would have been after in this contest. And it looks like there might be an injury here for Marius Lowe, which is the last thing that they want. They need every possibility out there on the field to get points. They haven't had a line break, and I would say a good 18 minutes or so. I predict the All Blacks will be ranked number 1 at the end of 2024. So here's Manny M. Interesting. Even though they've got 2 away games in South Africa. I can tell you right now, those games aren't going to be easy. Also, new coach at the helm, of course. Scott Robinson, a lot of people go because he was good for the Crusaders. He's going to be great for the All Blacks. But there will be that adjustment period. So I would say 2025 you might be better off. Oh, that grass has been really ripped up. A few people making their way onto the turf to try and fix the divots that have been taken out. If the Boks pick Nohamba, will he be playing 9 or 10? I see him more as a 9 for the Springboks, to be honest, if he was to be selected. But I do still see him as about the 5th option or 4th option for the Boks in terms of who they could go with. Like, I think that Ambrose Papier would probably get the nod ahead of Nohamba. But, yeah, you've still got, of course, Faf de Klerk, who is still considered as that number 1. You've got Jaden Hendrickse, Cobus Reinach, and then also Grant Williams. But then is he a winger? Is he a halfback now for the Springboks in their future plans? Is another thing to think about. England itself destroyed themselves. Baseball losing 8 wickets for 100 runs. And they are out of the 3rd test. So here's coding. Nicely stolen in there from the Lions. 15 metres out from their line. It is Oosterhuizen. Tries to go forward. Hamish, the next Rassie Erasmus. I thought you were saying that I was the next Rassie Erasmus. I don't know, to be honest, because you need someone who thinks outside of the box, don't you? And I don't know whether any of the current, like, Joe Schmidt for Australia could be an intriguing one. He's not going to be Rassie, but he's going to add something different that maybe they haven't had for a while, which could be quite good. But like Eddie Jones is always a little bit compared to Rassie Erasmus, just not quite as successful in some regards. But yeah, it's an intriguing one because Eddie Jones now has to make sure that Japan do well. For captaincy, I would suggest Andre Pollard. Says Alfie probably be a good shout, to be fair, Pollard, if he wanted it, that is. I don't know whether or not he's too keen on having that responsibility. I think he much prefers just being able to concentrate on that goal kicking and going from there. Now, nice rolling maul here for the VODACOM Bulls. Blues player going down. Says AJ Jacobs, so no penalty 1. Now Creel trying to steal that one in the breakdown was JP Smith after Marco van Staren tackled by Oosterhuizen. The Bulls looking methodical in the way that they are building here. not trying to rush it. Looking for every single pass to go to hands, which is the difference. The Lions have been rushing a little bit early on, which has caused a lot of handling errors. Good low tackle made again there. I believe that would have been a Ruan Finta. Oh, Mbros Papier back across to Mako van Staden this time. Unfortunately, there was a forward pass, so they haven't been knocking it on, but there was a knock on. I'm back in the All Blacks to beat the box. Says Manny, and yep, outside of the box. Says Mimani, and hey, whatever happened to that guy who said he was a ghost in the comments? I think he was more of a cricket guy rather than a rugby guy, so we probably have to wait a bit to see whether or not we get to see him again. That Lions coach looks very similar to another player. He kind of looks like a bigger version of Paulo Garbisi. Does he? Would that be a shout, ladies and gentlemen? Anyone who's watching the game, does that Lions coach look a little bit like Garbisi, or am I just... Was that the player I was thinking of? Maybe. And Isle and Hamish. Hamish, who you got for Reece Zammit, Will Jordan, Henry Rundle, Cheslin Colby in a foot race. Well, ooh. It's tricky, isn't it? Because, of course, Colby, as quick as he is, just doesn't quite have that same stride size as some of the others. Like, Will Jordan runs quick, and he doesn't look like he tries to run quick. Reece Zammit, he is a speedster, and Arundel's also very quick. I honestly don't know who will win that foot race. Probably Reece Zammit, I would say. Injury shortened somebody's career. Could have been great. Says BRB. I mean, it did shorten his career a little bit, but more the timing of it, probably Christian Cullen for New Zealand's side of things. Just having too many injuries with that knee that then made it so that he wasn't able to perform to his very best level. And which was the best All Blacks team ever? A lot of people have said between that 2011-2015 period, the ABs were at their peak. Now going back across to the right-hand side, Nohamba trying to use the breeze to his advantage. Nicely taken to the back though. Only 1 minute remaining. Great counter there from Devon Williams. Couldn't get the pass away. Nicely tackled by Morne Vandenberg on the halfway line. I wonder who might play lock. Vetzebeth is not ready. I believe he had a knee operation. Says Alfie, with the benefit for the box is they've got depth. You know, like there's a lot of guys who have been waiting patiently. It's whether or not they are of the same level. And a lot of people would say no, because how do you get to that level of Eben Etzebeth? It's pretty tricky to do. But you've got these backup guys like Nokia, who isn't really considered too much at the moment. You've got Marvin O'Reilly, Salman Moura, Ludeacha, of course, will be back for them. You've got Moster. It's just who wants that 4, isn't it? Because you've got a lot of guys who seem to play 5, but guys who play 4 are a little bit harder. So probably Marvin O'Reilly at the moment would be the next best shout. But I don't know whether or not that is what they'd actually want. You know? I can't wait when the All Blacks kick off for the season, says Manny M. Currently we have got the halftime siren ringing at the ground. Oh, Jaco van der Walt, the ball has fallen off the tee. Bobby Lashley had a knee injury, which ended his amateur wrestling career, says BRB. And injuries are brutal. That's why some of these guys who retire, like as much as people don't like Johnny Sexton, it's got to be somewhat respected and somewhat pretty cool to think about that he was able to retire without a serious injury. Like a lot of the older players around the world do end up with one last big injury and then that's them done. And they pretty much have to give it up because they know that they've got a long road ahead of them in terms of recovery. Morne Staney is another player who managed to avoid it relatively well throughout the last stages of his career. And now he's one of the coaches, which is pretty awesome. At halftime, that kick actually missed for the Bulls, so the score will remain at 5-3. Going into the second half, I think that we are going to see a lot more clinical play from the Lions. I think that they really struggled throughout that first half to be able to put together multiple phases. It just seemed to be that the ball was dropping too often. And with the fact that they weren't able to handle, I guess, that little bit of pressure that the Bulls were putting on them. I think that second half is going to be very intriguing. A serious injury that we know about, says Yvonne. And there in Amish, bro, says Vishal. But yeah, like the worst type of serious injury for an older player, of course, is the head knock. You know, there's so many great players who have been taken out due to concussion and have pretty much had to accept that like they've just rattled their brains too much. Like Sam Cane at the moment for New Zealand, he's one head knock, I believe, off retirement because like your brain's not designed to get knocked out multiple times over and over and over again. That is why you see so much in mixed martial artists and boxers in terms of that CTE coming into play. And it's something that you don't want to see in rugby, which is why they have brought in the rules to try and limit the amount of head contact that we do end up seeing. But like it's still one of those ones you definitely don't want players retiring because they have to, rather because they want to. We have got the slowest wing in the South Africa club team. Not actually too sure. A lot of the guys out on the wing are pretty speedy. Like even the slowest guys still beat everyone in a foot race out of most 4-packs. I feel like people only see the money and the fame. They don't talk about this other side. Says BRB, I don't like your Puma shirt, Amish. Says Michelle, thank you very much, mate. You got a second comment about t-shirt. Says coding. And there's Owen Jake going to rip into team. All knocks on attack, says Ron. And yeah, like I'm just going to try and find the exact stat. I don't think I'm going to have it here. I got the penalties, which is actually pretty low. Only 4 against the Bulls compared to 3 against the Lions. Like the handling was what hurt the Lions. They got the 3 points in the first minute of the half. And then from there, they have lacked territory. They made more tackles than their opposition. They've actually got a 92% tackle completion rate, which is extremely high, and more defenders beaten. But they haven't been able to score a try as of yet. Like pro boxers, they are cuckoos in their old days. Says Mibania. And morning, Hamish brother, says Birdie V. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. We have got, of course, the game between the Sharks and the Stormers, which is going to be taking place just around the corner. But anyone who missed it, the one try was scored by Kanan Moody, was in the 19th minute. But aside from that, and the 3 points extremely early on, we have seen 2 missed kicks. One from Van der Volt right near the end of the half, and also the other was a missed kick from Nohamba, maybe about 10 minutes into the game or somewhere around there. So I would say both sides have still got more that they want to be able to do. Cameron Honeycomb, I think, was a standout for the Bulls. We always talk about that Springboks loose forward trio and who's going to be the next guy who makes their way in there. Honeycomb's looking strong. Diamani at the moment is doing very well also. Straight finally New Zealand breaking the jinx against South Africa side. First time ever, 92 years cricket history. The beat first time. What a proud moment for New Zealand. Hamish bro says Vishal. It's whether or not they can do it up against Australia though. That's going to be the big one. Working from home is really nice. They have construction jobs, so could never be online. Says BRB, I'm a little bit the same. Like I work as a builder throughout the week. So yeah, I don't think there's ever a stage where that will be an online activity rather than getting out there and getting going. Like we pour concrete on Thursday morning, which I don't know. I would play a concrete simulator game. There probably is a concrete simulator game, but I feel like that would be a fun game. Getting to screed the concrete, do it in VR. I would stay up, but I'm going to fall asleep. Have a good night or day, everyone. Enjoy Enjoy the rugby and year. Also, make sure to like and subscribe. It means a lot. Cheers. CS Pads ablaze. Hard for it to count with a makeshift team like the Proteas has sent to New Zealand. Also, big love, everyone. CS Sebastian. Yeah, I feel like it doesn't feel as like, yes, it's very significant, and you can only play the team that's put in front of you, but it does feel, I guess, not as oomphy, if that makes sense. Like, if South Africa beat New Zealand, completely different story, because that would have been a massive win for that young side. But yeah, just the other way around just doesn't quite feel the same. You know, like I'm from New Zealand. I watch the test matches, but like, yes, it's nice winning, but it just seemed like they were always bound to win. If that makes sense. I feel like the opposite New Zealand. We're playing so slowly and under so much pressure against a complete new side. Do you agree? CS coding. See, like New Zealand, they played well, but they almost messed it up in that second test match. Like they got bowled out cheaply, which is a credit to South Africa's young bowlers that are coming up through the ranks. And sometimes it's a little bit of that unknown that can actually get you a bit better. I hope New Zealand this time bring back Trans-Tasman Trophy in New Zealand. Also Chapel Hadley series at the same time. Says the show and Steam has a new goat simulated game. Don't ask me what it's about. I'd assume goats. Ashwin also completed 500 wickets. It's a big achievement. Says a BRB, an afternoon mate in bed with the flu. And just watched the two quarterfinals last World Cup. Is rugby way better, or is rugby in a way better place just now? Some great games past few years. I think that there are positives in terms of where rugby is sitting currently. There are, of course, still a lot of things that are getting looked at, one of which being how much interference in a match a third umpire, but a TMO can have. But, like, yeah, I feel like rugby, in some regards, it's never been so close in terms of the top sides, which is fantastic, because you just never know who's going to beat anyone. I mean, we saw Fiji beat England. We saw a couple massive upsets throughout their World Cup. Nothing too substantial in terms of the big sides, but, you know, like some great performances taking place. Portugal, I thought, had a really good World Cup. What's the stadium in the background? It is the one that they are playing at, Emirates Airline Park. There you go. That's what it looks like. Like I say it again, still got to hit the ball and bowl right lines, even if teams aren't as experienced. You still got to do the things, so yeah. There's pads ablaze. And I think it's more of the case of if you do bowl those good lines, like you're just a lot more likely to pick up a wicket if a guy's only in his third match rather than his 100th. And I was saying that before this, that the Black Caps have never won a test series against Proteas in 92 years. That is correct. They have never beaten South Africa in a test series. It's always that there's been a drawn match and then South Africa win one or two draws or one each. Something that's happened quite often. But yeah, up till this point, never have the Black Caps been able to beat South Africa in a series. H Pro 207 for 2 and 319 all-out. England collapse against India team bowling. Says Vishal, why there is so much randomness in rugby as compared to cricket. In cricket, we know who will win. Says Coding. I mean, to be fair though, no one really predicted the West Indies to beat Australia on Australian soil in that second test match. There are still upsets that do happen in rugby, just like cricket. But I feel like rugby-wise, the top side going into the match is normally the one, it's their game to lose. And the underdog, they know that, so they try and take it to that next level, try and take down the top side. South Africa didn't play cricket for a long time, and they came back in 1992. Says a BRB, and the All Blacks going to thrash the Wallabies. Says Manny M. I hope it's a little bit closer, though. I want to see some good things coming from Joe Schmidt for this Wallabies side. I would much prefer to see them progress forward than take a step backwards like we saw throughout that last World Cup under Eddie Jones. Yeah, the Rugby Championship, that is getting closer as well. Probably only 5 months away, which sounds like a long time, but it really won't be because of how quickly the rugby schedule does seem to go. I should mention we have got another game taking place just around the corner. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be the game between the Stormers and the Sharks. This match currently, if it finishes on the score that it is, the Lions, they will actually jump up one spot. They would move to 10th because they would get the losing bonus point. The Bulls would receive the 4 points and take first place. But if the Lions can win this game, they go right up to 7th. So there's a lot on the line for them. They want to walk away minimum with 1 point in this game. I don't see either of these sides getting a try-scoring bonus point at this point. I mean, the Bulls need 3 more tries, but the Lions' defence, I think, has been strong enough to be able to stop them from really motoring on. Now, that's not to say it couldn't happen. We've seen the Bulls normally go back-to-back tries within 5 minutes if they need to. they'll be trying to get that little bit further up the table as well so that they can progress, try and get as high as you can, get those home finals because they make a big difference, as we've learned from past URC games. Stormers, are they can't an animal, or they're not an animal, says BRB. That next game only kicking off in 1 hour and 4 minutes time. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be live on the channel covering that one right from the kickoff. In Amesbury last time, New Zealand beat Australia in Australia. Blundstone Arena, formerly named that one, Oval. 267 target, defended by 8 runs. Victory last time, New Zealand, says Vishal. So it's been a little while since I've beaten the Australians, and to be honest, I don't see them doing too well on New Zealand soil if they aren't able to score runs a little bit quicker, because it's all well and good scoring runs up against the South African side, who are a little bit inexperienced, but South Africa, compared to the Australian bowling attack currently, like Australia are just going to hone in on a length and they will stop the Black Caps from being able to hit that ball. So they have to make sure when they give them a loosener, got to go after it. Black Caps won last Test series versus Australia in 1985. And I hope rugby is not going like football with TMO, etc. Can't watch footy anymore with all them breaks. Then the game just needs some strong refs and better touch judges off to sleep here. Says Dennis, so we will see you later on. But both sides now making their way out of the tunnel for the second half, which is just around the corner. Neil Wagner came back from retirement. Says BRB. It's a great mustache on the man who was greeting the players. Oh, that was awkward. That was extremely awkward. There was a man who was waiting for the fist bump. He was the mustached up man. He went like this and then wanted the Nalabakanye fist bump. But the guy who was in front of Nalabakanye thought that the fist pump was for him. So he tried to go for it, maybe slightly connected, and then the guy's hand went past the fist bump who he meant to fist bump. So awkward. Love an awkward scenario though. Sometimes you need awkwardness just to get through the day, I think. Series 1-1 all that time. I remember Dougie Bracewell, fantastic bowlings that innings, says Vishal. I feel like you guys have worked it out by now. I'm an awkward individual. So I love a little bit of an awkward situation just because it normally breaks the tension, and just like a little chuckle because something's awkward is just good. Guys with mustaches are always awkward. I got a bit of one at the moment. You saw Hollywood Hill promo and Golden Jacket joining the Bloodline. Not yet, no, but I'll have to give it a look. Alexander Volkanovski also fighting today, which will be quite a good one. What you make of the new tournament in 2026 between the Six Nations and Rugby Championship? I like it. I just hope that it doesn't take away from the feeling of the World Cup, and also I hope that it doesn't take away from the sides outside of that competition who won't get as much competitive rugby as they would have prior. Talking about Fiji, Samoa. I know that Fiji are supposed to be in it, but I don't know what the system is. They want Japan in there as well, which I think would make sense. But then that means Samoa are going to struggle, even though I thought their Rugby World Cup campaign, they were pretty decent overall. It would have been nice to see them have more games in the 2 years building up. Oh, this isn't good. Looks like Ruan Finta may have taken a big shot. It looks like already Emmanuel Tichuca having a bit of a stretch on the sideline. Georgia beat Spain 38 points to 3 an hour ago. Says the reviewer. Like they're saying they really do need Ruan Finta. And at the moment there's just a guy putting his thumb exactly where it hurts. That sounds dodgy. I like in the rib where he got hit. Back note. It's Notango who's actually injured there. And a lot of former British colonies play rugby. But why doesn't India play? Says BRB. I guess it's just a sport that they haven't really gotten into yet. Like, I'm sure if they did eventually, I think they've played rugby sevens before. Not on the world circuit, but in like a competitor's like lower level league. But, you know, it's always a sport that if a new country wants to try it out, I'd like to think that the rugby world would accept them. Come have a go. T20 series audition for New Zealand cricket. I hope some new face coming to here. There's Michelle now rolling forward here again for the Bulls. The rolling ball has been effective today. And Bruce Papier gets it away now off to the side. Another knock on. Come on, boys. Hold on to it. It's a dry day, but the ball seems to be the slipperiest thing out there. Oh, we got the boxing bell just rung out as well there. It's a big kick downfield. And come on, the Bulls, says Yako there. And Kiwis are genuinely soft and nice. Why they are number one in rugby, which is so aggressive and physical sport. Says Cody. I mean, Kiwis do get a reputation of being quite laid back, but if you annoy one of them, they normally, you know, they can be a bit brutal. Plus, I think it's not so much the fact that like they want to be aggressive and physical. I think it's just more that they want to be competitive and they want to win. Like, so it's that kind of competitive nature, I would say. Not so much pure aggression that comes from the players. Now, Jaco van der Walt kicks it high again. And Kanan Moody hasn't been able to take that cleanly, but he has swatted it back onto the side of the Bulls. Now with Bruce Papier passes off to Jaco van der Walt. If you go on a date with any woman in the world, who would it be? I am not going to tell you. But it is a celebrity. But we're going to keep that all hush-hush. Now, Ambrose Papier, I can tell you George's list, he's got like 15. Although it always changes depending on his mood. That's going to be knocked on by Marius Lowe. The hands, they aren't holding the ball at the moment. Samoa are good in Rugby League and we're runners-up in the Rugby League World Cup final. Says Manny M. And Amish one named popular this T20 Smash. The guy hit centuries. I don't know his name, but he's a very talented boy. Is it? Are you talking about Finn Allen, Vishal, or a different guy? Handling errors. We're seeing 7 from the Bulls, 4 from the Lions. Now that stat is wrong because I've counted probably about 7 at least that the Lions have dropped. Robert's got the eyes going upwards. How's the game tempo? It's 35 degrees here in Johannesburg. It's slowing down a little bit. It's slowly starting to go down and you're not strong enough physically. Player rugby says Manny M. Although rugby sevens, I feel like they'd be quick enough, I think. Bulls' last 5 fixtures in the URC have all gone with home field advantage. Says the Bulls no Hamish, bro. He doesn't play international yet. Oh, in the Super Smash, sorry. Is it Sydney Sweeney? It is not, no. Is that yours, BRB? Another scrum feed. 43 minutes through. That's an impressive mustache there. For... who was that? I think that was Jaco Visachi. The Bulls, another scrum feed. It's actually how they scored their first try. Was off the scrum advantage. Honeycomb breaking away. Pushing hard and then Ambrose Papier picking it up. Running short side. Moody did get that try. Can they do it again? They're actually set up that they could do if they can break through. I forgot the name. He was a brilliant player. That match says Michelle. Now nicely looping around. There's obstruction there in front of the player. So the penalty goes the way of the lineup. Or sorry, of the Lions. And mine would be Suni Lee. I've never heard of her. And everyone knows you have a crush on Taylor Swift. Don't be shy about it, says Christopher DeVette. I don't think I do. Like, don't get me wrong. I'd say she's an attractive lady, but that sounded so harsh, didn't it? But like, I don't think she'd be my type per se. Now lining up. Oh, this is a bold call. The Lions going for a kick from almost halfway. Ash will pick girls from New Zealand only. Says Cody, nah. Normally the globe is all that's required. And a pulse, I always say. Oh yeah, get there. What's your favourite food? Says Manny M. Chips. Hot chips. or fries, as some people would call them. I like them basic. Now, gonna be Nohamba. He's got the distance. It's hit the post and it's just come back out. Ball's been knocked on by the Bulls again. And now the Lions, they've got numbers. They get the pass away. JP Smith wasn't willing to shift it out to the left-hand side. Okay, they're going back for the original knock-on. And Olympic gold medalist, gymnast. And Hamish, well, I just came onto the stream and realised that it's not been a high-scoring game so far. It's quite surprised because both these teams like to get quickly points on the board, says Marnus. And one of the sides did extremely well in that regard early. We saw the Lions score a conversion or a penalty within, I think it was like 80 seconds or so. Yeah, another knock-on from the Bulls. Amelia Kerr, Hamish just crush. Says Cody, no, I wouldn't say so. Ruben Love is Amelia Kerr's boyfriend. Hurricanes rugby player. Can't be doing that. New Zealand has some really special women. Brittany Clark from VLDL is a good example. What is VLDL? The only words I can think of that start with V is violin and very, and I don't think that's the start of it. Violent? No, it's VL. Not sure. You know New Zealand better than I do, Christopher. A scrum fee for the Lions. Okay. So, Gerhard. Oh, Viva La Dirt League is a New Zealand YouTube channel. I have heard of Viva La Dirt League, yes. I just didn't work out the abbreviation for that one. Quite a big New Zealand YouTube channel. I think one of the biggest that we have got here. Johan Goosen now on the field for the Bulls. I think that is to replace Van der Walt. Just looking through at the rest of the backline, I'm not seeing too many other changes. I think that they have stuck with Stedman Hans as well as David Creel in the midfield. Now ball about to be fed in by the Lions. That's going to be another free kick. I think they'll mind going for another scrum. Margot Robbie is my last guess. That is one of George's. He has got many, but she does fall into that category. 48 minutes through. Are you going to cover the Rugby Olympic Sevens in Paris? Who are your favourites to win it? We certainly are. And I think at the moment, I mean, it's hard not to back Fiji in a sevens competition at the Olympics, mainly because they've shown time and time again that they have the ability get the job done. I think Argentina are a little bit of an underrated side on the Seven Circuit currently. We have an eye on the Olympic Games in July and August. It's about 4 months away. We certainly will. We'll be covering as much of it as we can on the channel. It's not every year you get an Olympics, so we're going to make the most of it. And hey, Mr. Kiwi Lads, I haven't been on your channel since the Ireland vs New Zealand quarter-final. Feels good to be back on your channel. Oh, and you're a little bit of a lucky charm for the Lions. It is the try out wide. Or is it? The referee's blown his whistle multiple times, but Richard Creel may have just scored the try for the Lions. But I hope you are doing well. The Black Samoan, it is great to have you back. Right, they're going to check this. Okay, on-field decision is try, but they want to make sure that that last pass did go backwards. So on-field decision is try. That is the main thing. But, I mean, 4 passes is a 4 pass. So, we're about to find out whether or not they one drifted forward. I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, in 45 minutes' time, we are back for our next live stream. Here we go. Okay, that pass is fine. Okay. So that actually brushes off the shoulder of Henko van Veek. What does this mean though? Because if he's in front, wait. It's off the red shoulder. But if red shoulder is behind, does that... So I would say it's almost a forward pass to the shoulder of his teammate. Yeah, that's probably a very lucky one, that it's bored out of their hands, because if it had hit the shoulder and gone forward to the next man, I believe that would have been play on, if I'm correct. Both nations. Good child, says JP. And the New Zealand Kiwis are looking good for the next Rugby League World Cup. Right, as Taiwan compete as Chinese Taipei in the Olympics, that is way above my pay grade, I can tell you that. Okay, it's going to be the forward pass, no try for the Lions. Fans are disappointed. They wanted to see their side score early on. But I'd also love to brag about, you thought the World Cup final would be Ireland versus South Africa. When you wrote New Zealand off, they got to the finals. Says the Blacks are on. They certainly did. I think in my predictions, did I have it New Zealand, South Africa, or sorry, New Zealand, Ireland in the quarters? I think I did, didn't I? And South Africa up against France. So I got that right. I just didn't get right who was going to win in the New Zealand versus Ireland game. But yeah, it's interesting. I've heard nothing of Ian Foster after the World Cup, but a lot of people, I feel like, need to mention that that man did a lot better in that World Cup than a lot of people gave him credit for. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it was the players who did it, but like, he still needs some credit. I think Ian Foster. Tim Robinson is the name. A player has to be Kirsten Stewart. You look like a Twilight fan. Well, I am not. I've never watched Twilight. I've watched like maybe 5 minutes of it. That's about all. That's another knock on, but we're going back for the penalty, and that was just because my sister was watching it and I was in the room. But 50 minutes through, handling is hurting both of these sides. Gormiti is on the field for Eric Lowe. What's your opinion on Scott Razor-Robinson? He's done brilliantly for the Crusaders. I think that there'll be a little bit of a period for the All Blacks where they need to rebuild and just slowly, I guess, get a bit stronger, because at the end of the day, he's losing a lot of players as well. So there might be a bit of a rebuild phase, but he should be able to help. And if he brings that team environment like he brings to the Crusaders to the All Blacks, I think he'll be completely fine. Why can't the French be consistent? Says Manny M. Unfortunately, I think like a little bit of it is mental, I think. They just, unfortunately, they show up for some games, and other games they just don't seem like they want to be there. Now it's going to be kicked high from Ambrose Papier, chasing this. Kukli Aronsa. Where's that man been? He's been out there on the field the whole time. That is the first time I've seen him touch the ball. It's going to be a penalty advantage now to the Bulls. Now I believe that they will consider probably kicking for the corner again. She famous worldwide? Give me a clue. I'd say relatively famous. This time Morne Vandenberg, the man who has been penalised there. Johan Goosen will once again kick this one towards the touchline. They want that try. What's your win percentage prediction for the All Blacks this year? How many tests have they got in total? If they've got 10, I would say that they'll win. I'd go probably 8 of them. Probably not a bad shout. So an 80%-ish winning rate, I would say, for the ABs. A line out here, Jaco Visagie. It's been taken off the field. That is for PJ Botha. Now, Acha van der Merwe, the replacement, 16 for Johan Rubler. Now back out on the field. The rolling ball defense so far is good from the Lions. Made the Bulls go back a couple of steps, and now it was actually a Bulls knee that went down. Got back up to his feet and continues the rolling ball. This is looking very good now for the Bulls, and they go over with Acha van der Merwe. And the crowd are absolutely loving it. First try of the second half for the Bulls. At least not jinx. Says Robert, a little bit of push and shove there. Yeah, we did see one of the players for the Bulls go down to a knee, but I believe it wasn't the man with the ball. So because of that, I think he's allowed a knee on the ground as long as he gets back up. I always thought it was as soon as you went to a knee, you had to disengage. But I could be wrong. Yeah, rolling over. Nicely done. And Aka van der Merwe, he's only been on the field for maybe 4 minutes, if that, and has already got himself a try off the bench for the Bulls. Sportswoman says BRB, no. 53 minutes in. Now lining up this kick from the touchline, Johan Goosen. It's not going to be the easiest kick of the day, I wouldn't think, for Goosen. What happened to Robbie Deans? I think he just retired from coaching. I think he just decided that it wasn't for him. Oh, he also, I mean, he was getting near the end of his coaching tenure as well, though. 43 metres out for Johan Goosen, trying to use the breeze, which apparently stopped blowing as soon as Johan Goosen did strike it. The All Blacks have 14 games this year. Okay, so I'd still go about 84% somewhere around there. I think that they'll lose probably 2 games of their 14. And Robbie Deans coaches in Japan. Oh, there you go. Just not internationally, I guess, for Robbie Deans at this point. Irish Rowe is 2 highest run getters in Super Smash, 298 after Henry Nichols, 316 in this edition. Oh, the Super Smash says Vishal, sorry. Something that I am looking forward to seeing, though, is the 4-day cricket comeback for New Zealand cricket. Just not too far away, I don't think, but nicely claimed from the Bulls. 10 points to 3 at the moment is the way the score remains, and another penalty this time goes against the Lions. Just back-to-back infringements. Starting to hurt them quite a bit here. It's not something that they can afford. The one that I was talking about, I'm going to try and find it here. Where is it? The New Zealand, 4-day cricket in 11 days' time. How long until the game ends, says Corne Berger? They've still got another 26 or so minutes remaining. Because of all the scrum stoppages that we have had, it has actually led to a bit of a longer game. But 26 minutes. And then after this game finishes, we've only got about maybe 15 minutes till the next game starts. But Aka van der Merwe breaking through the tackle attempt of PJ Botha. Now Ambrose Papia back across to the right, and it's a knock on from Gumeri. Had to jump onto the All Blacks and play in 15 games. Says Manny M. The Bulls now this time, the side that has dropped the ball. I don't think you're allowed to jump into it the way that Gumeri did there. Could have ended up giving one of the players a flying knee like we're going to see later on in the UFC today. When's Cameron Saman fighting again? Ladies and gentlemen, do let me know. Of course, we will see a title defence of Dracus du Plessis at some point in the future. Other than those two, I can't think of too many other current South Africans in the USA. I think there's one other, though. 25 minutes left. And the Lions, they are in a defensive position on the field, 25 metres out from their own line, so they will be required to either run this ball or try and kick it downfield for territory. The All Blacks will lose 1 game this year, says Manny M. Now the ball has gone in, and that will be a Lions penalty 1. Exactly what they wanted. Gerhard Stinnekamp just pushing in. Ended up going actually underneath replacement 18, who looks like he took a bit of a knock in the process. I'll give you my list. Suni Lee, Sydney Sweeney, Misha Tate, Monica Bellucci. So I think one of those people, but I've heard of one of the others as well, I think. The crowd trying to get behind the Lions. They just need to see something from their home team at the moment. Looks like Landsberg is now out there. I don't think we'll be too far away from seeing Emmanuel Techuka either. And now thrown in by PJ Botha, fingertips for the Lions, but they managed to claim it. What's your opinion on Jordy Barrett missing that penalty kick in the World Cup final? He wouldn't have wanted to miss it, I would think, but it's one of those ones that it wasn't the be-all, end-all of that game. The All Blacks, like, theoretically, yes, you want to get your kicks, but there should have been times other than that they were able to score points, but just making those mistakes. Are you Springbok backline to take on the Irish Tor in July says all quick they're taken by the Lions. We will come back to that in a very short moment. The Lions looking like they want to try and score quickly here. JC Pretorius plays half. Good attack and run from Fenta. Counter ruck from the Bulls. And they turned the ball over. They didn't have a halfback. And the penalty goes the way of the Bulls. But for me, I mean, it's going to be... It's not really a time, I don't think, up against the Irish to be blooding too many new players in their backline. So I would probably say we're going to see de Klerk. And then... do you go Pollard or do you go LeBock? I think that they'll... See, you've asked for mine. I think I'm not good at making decisions. I'd go LeBock just for that attacking offering. But then they probably want Pollard in there somewhere. Midfield up against the Springboks, I would probably stick with what they had for most of the World Cup. And that would mean missing out on Andre Esterhuizen and Kanan Moody, instead going with the other combo, Damien Dialende and GC. But they got Lucanio Arm now. I'd still probably go with Creel to match up with Ringrose if he is back. I feel like that would be a good combo, although they'll probably want Lucanio Arms. Tell you what, it's a tricky one, Lyle. I would say this, though. The Springboks, they are blessed with the amount of players that they've got on offer and available. There's an offside advantage here in favour of the Bulls by Marcel Kutsia, his first carry since making his way onto the field. Flat run from Ludwig. Brospapier trying to find the gap, gets it away to Marcel Kutsia again. I think both teams' technique defensive here. This game entered at 60 minutes, but the score rate is low. Says Vachal now crawling along the ground there, David Creel. Another low tackle on Roan Nokia. Again, there is another offside penalty coming against the Bulls. Stedman Hans with the good fend on Jordan Hendrickse. First tackle that he is at the make. Papia goes back across to Marcel Kutsia again. JC Pretorius. He's got penalised there for no clear release. And that breakdown by the sounds of it. Now we've got a bit of a stoppage. Bulls should be worried. They're not hoarding goats. It's Lions who want blue blood, says Helen Howe. Who do you think is fastest between Enrico Ioane, Cheslin Colby and Kutley Arnsur? In their prime or now? Because I feel like Rico, he's still quick when he finds those gaps. But is he as quick as he was? I feel like he's still quick enough. I'd probably say Rico. But like Kutley Arnsur, he's also shown some great signs of pace. Cheslin Colby, everyone knows he's fast. But, maybe. I think they've done a test, haven't they, in terms of who's quicker between those two. I can't remember who won it, though, in terms of their 100-metre time. Johan Husson, he will be going for the 3 points here for the Bulls rather than the attempt at 7. And Husson has got that one over, so 13 points to 3 in favour of the Bulls. This is starting to get a little bit out of hand for the Lions. They scored the first 3 points of the day, but other than that, they just haven't been able to get any momentum flowing. I mean, both in their primes and now. So yeah, you'd probably say because Rico's legs are longer, he gets a bit of a bigger stride. For like size to speed ratio, you'd go Cheslin Colby. Now we are having the water break. Grant Williams, the fastest, says Lyle. He is lightning quick. Would you play him on the wing in the upcoming tours, Lyle, or would you go with him at halfback? I think that is a big question that the Boks have to ask themselves. If they've got those players who can play out on the wing, how do you keep Grant Williams in the side? Because I think he has to be there. I think that he's an X-factor player. And fast and rugby is more complicated than just raw speed, says Mimania. It's all about the acceleration as well, of course. And also how quickly you can run while changing direction. And a game of rugby can be extremely important as well. Now just showing that one try of the second half for the Bulls, scored by Aka van der Merwe. And definitely halfback and wing cover. Says Lyle. So who would you put him in there to sacrifice a spot for a forward in that case? Or is he one of your 3 halfbacks? Or that's the thing. Are the Boks going to go with 4 again? They probably will. They're one of the unpredictable sides, I would say, when it comes to selections. But then, how big can this squad be, though? I don't actually know what you're allowed for. I assume like 40? 35? I'd like to think you're allowed quite a few players. I can't actually remember what the squad size normally is. I think it's about 38 for the Boks. Now 19 minutes remaining. They're talking about JC Pretorius' brilliance. Saw that on the 7 circuit all the time for the Blitz box. It's faster, better Rico Ioane. Will Jordan, I think Will Jordan never really looks like he's fully sprinting. Plus, he's got a weird running style. How his arms are kind of tucked in like he's a T-Rex. So I feel like if he actually pumped his arms, he would probably be the quicker, but I go Rico. He's my one on the bench, 7-1 split coming, says Lyle. I guess the big benefit is the fact that he can cover both the wing and halfback, and there's a few other guys who are versatile in that box back line. Means that you can just rotate it a little bit if need be. Kick downfield from the Bulls, now back into the hands of the Lions. Jordan Hendrickse hanging on to that one now has put the ball up high. It's a contestable one, not quite taken cleanly by Johan Horsem, but it is play on. Stedman Hans now going across to the left-hand side to Aka van der Merwe. Looks like Ambrose Papi are going to be rolling this ball back. And that's the thing, the Bulls, at this stage, I think they've accepted they aren't getting the try-scoring bonus point. So they might as well just try and force the Lions back as far as they can, and then from there see if the try option does come in. Big fend from Jordan Hendrickse, right on the head of Maka van Staden, who comes in from the side to hit him while he's on the ground. Probably not the best idea to fend that man in the face. Good diving catch from Nodnachel. Been able to regather it, but once again, the Lions have dropped that ball, playing like they've got paws at the moment rather than hands. They can't hold anything. And that's going to be the penalty this time to the Lions that was actually sealing off from the Bulls. And hi, Amish and guys. So he has 1-2-3 MS. But 62 minutes in. Good shot from Henko van Wyk on his opposite number. I think that's almost one of the first tackles I've actually seen from Henko van Wyk throughout this game as well. It's been quite a quiet day for centres and wingers, I would say. Like I mentioned, Kurtley Arinsa, we've seen him touch the ball once throughout this whole contest. Kane Moody, he's touched it 3 times, one of which he was able to score the try from. But it hasn't been a very free-flowing game whatsoever. Been a lot more start-stop than both of the sides would have probably anticipated. Great kick downfield from Jordan Hendrickse. Gets them to about maybe 17 metres out from the Bulls line. And if there's ever a time to score for the Lions, it's now. They need the try and they need it soon. Give them some sort of opportunity in this matchup. I think they've got 6 in the line out now for the Lions. The Bulls, their rolling maul on attack has been strong. We might get to see it defend here now. Now throws it in for PJ Bota. Slowly getting driven towards the sideline here. And great defense from the Bulls. Don't push them out though. And then they cut back inwards and manage to keep the ball alive. They are 10 metres from the line. Marius Lowe has knocked the ball on again. And Gerard Stinnekamp now with the line break. And Bros Papier. Good tackle made on him by Henko van Wyk, but the Lions just aren't there at the moment in terms of handling. It has been shocking from them in this one. And hi guys and Amish, welcome in. And kind of hope that the Lions would win so the Lions can finish in the top 4. So here's the 1-2-3 MS. With one thing's for sure, they're going to have to improve their handling before the next game. Because if they don't, it's going to be a tough one, and it's a must-win game up against the Sharks just around the corner. They have to make sure that they're walking away from that game with the points while the Sharks are out of form. How's it 1-2-3, says Mimania. And come on the Lions, says Lyle. Now just over 15 minutes remaining, and Bruce Papia will once again roll this ball back for the Bulls. Using up valuable seconds on the clock for the Lions here. But high, Jordan Hendricks, a good take from him. Tackled by Kana Moody. Now Humber, looks like he wants to have a go at doing a kick. Now they're actually going to go to the short side here. A couple of their big forwards are Landsberg. Humber, I think what he was doing is trying to set up that angle so that if he puts his hoof into it and really boots it downfield, it won't go into touch. And instead will drift across the field because of that breeze. Let's put it nice and IB and chased by the big man. Good early shot. Oh, and it's going to be called as a penalty for offside from the Lions. He was in front of the kicker. It's just these little mistakes. And it's got to be frustrating. The crowd are booing at the moment. So whoever gets more than enough talent to be competitive in the league, but just not popular. So there's 1, 2, 3 MS. I mean, the Stormers showed that when they won the first ever year of the URC. The South African sides made it to the final in the second year, alongside the eventual winners at Munster, Matanzima, now making his way on. And that is going to be for Gerard Steenkamp. A brilliant line break, so it's now probably very tired. But Johan Husson, this time, they will kick it by the corner. This will be about 12 metres from the Lions line, so maybe not quite to the corner as much as Johan Husson would have liked, but you don't want to try and go too many extra metres or else that wind will just take that ball into touch. And the Bulls now, they've got 2 tries, so that last try scored by Ache van der Merwe gets them in a scenario here. If they score one more, they're only one away from that bonus point try. Big run from van der Merwe, sits down. JC Pretorius, who gets right back up on his feet, trying to contest. The goal line is blending in big time near that middle patch. But they are about 3 metres out from the invisible line. Martin Zima gets closer again around the side of the breakdown between the posts. The Bulls score again. And it's Marcel Kutsia who has been able to cross the try line. And I'm good, bro. You says Miminia. And now 13 minutes remaining for the Bulls to be able to get themselves that bonus point. And unfortunately, that is the Lions' own fault. They've made errors with the ball in hand, which has led to the possession being heavily in favour of the Bulls throughout this game. And then alongside that, we have just seen poor discipline from the home side. Definitely not the game like we saw a few weeks ago when these two sides went down to the wire with it being 30 points to 28. This looks like a well-oiled Bulls side and a Lions side who just haven't showed up. I'm hoping the next game is a lot closer though. Of course, just around the corner, 20 minutes time. So when we are starting that next live stream, ladies and gentlemen, that will be the one between the Sharks and the Stormers. So if you are new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And then the week after, we are back with Super Rugby. We are back with the Six Nations, the Vancouver Sevens, also going to be taking place. Be sure. Keep an eye out for that. I mean, in Rugby League as well as Union, Box rely to in the forwards. And they don't use backs enough, says 1, 2, 3 MS. That one has gone over. I'll now make the score 20 points to 3 in favour of the Bulls. Lions, they were able to score first in this game, but unfortunately the scoreboard does not stay that way. Is that Fanta that kid has? I bloody love me a Fanta. Now, we kicked off by Jordan Hendrickson. I'm back to, is that? That is going to be Kieran Horn. Kicks this one off for the Lions, putting plenty of height on it. Challenged in the air, but the ball does go out to the Bulls once more now. Johan Husson was right place, right time. Gets the boot downfield. Jordan Hendrickson being told to send this one back to the sky, but instead he tries to run it to the short side. Finds the offload to Edwell van der Merwe. That is his first touch that we've seen of this game. All right, I got shovel snow. I'll be back. Go Bulls. Says Roberts, have fun. Enjoy the snow. Make a snowman while you're at it, Robert. Something that we have not been able to do here because it doesn't really snow very often. Now Nohamba going back to the right-hand side. Hendrickse to Kieran Horn. Trying to rip that one away. David Creel would have been a penalty as the knee was down. Good, awkward. Low tackle from Mata Nzima. Stopping all momentum that the Lions may have had. Now they're looking for that next big pass. Enko van Wyk, and they've won the penalty. They're going back for the original knock-on. Oh no, in fact, the original penalty. Favour of the Lions. So this time they have to go for the corner here. There is no way that they can afford not to look as far down the field as possible. Mata Nzima, it was a great low tackle. A couple times in a row, but they have called it as a deliberate knock-on, I believe. I think Mornay Smith might have got a boot to the hand there, but the win predictor has 98% in favour of the Bulls. Now, interestingly enough, about 15 minutes into the game, the Lions were considered 66% likely to go on to win this game. Good pro workout. Too much at the gym, body sore all over. Can't get out of bed. There's 1, 2, 3 MS. And brave show from the Lions. Good work, Bulls. There's Punisher. Yeah, they've just looked like the better side throughout this game. The VODACOM Bulls, they've had less handling errors, and they've had 7, so they haven't been clean themselves in some regard, but they've still been able to take those chances and have scored some very good tries along the way. They need one more to get a bonus point. That will put them to not only top of the table, but top of the table by 1 extra point ahead of Leinster. We'll be playing later on up against Benetton. We will be covering the Stormers versus Sharks game, but we will be keeping you updated with what is happening in that other contest as well. We have got another stoppage here. Going to be a huge amount of time in between games that are taking place. Like I said, we are pretty much straight back into the action with another match between the Sharks and the Stormers directly after this stream. Now, ball's put in by Nohamba. Scrum's holding steady. It's gone down. They're being told to use it. Now off to the short side. Kieran Horn goes for the chip in behind. Marius Lowe taps it forward. Don't think he got his hands to it. They'll check this one though, because Kieran Horn thinks that he scored this try. But I'm not sure he has. Okay, because there's so much happening, we don't have an on-field decision, says AJ Jacobs. So this one's going to be purely the TMO's decision to make of whether the Lions have got themselves their first try in this match or not. And supporting the Lions, it's like supporting Bafana, hot and cold. So we're seeing whether or not, okay, so there's no knock on there from Marius Lowe. Devon Williams does not force that one down, which means that Kieran Horn has scored that try for the Lions. A little bit of an unforced error at the back from the Bulls. There is a clear grounding for Kieran Horn. And that is a try for the Lions. That'll feel good for them getting points on the board, getting back into the contest. But can they continue this late momentum? Surely after having a 98% chance of losing this game, they don't somehow come back. Score 3 tries in a row. Marius Lowe never got his hands to it. Devon Williams knew that he didn't force it. You could see the panic in his face after not being able to get that ball down. Now that one has gone over. So now makes the score 20 points to 10 in favour of the Bulls still. But the gap is not as substantial. I should mention there's also points on the line here for the Lions. If they can score again, they will be within the 7, and that will give them the losing bonus point if they do go on to lose this game, which would still boost them up a spot on the URC table. I believe they would overtake Connacht if they were able to do so. Now, 8 minutes remaining. So Ludwig has now gone off the field for the Bulls. Good aggressive run forward now for, I believe it was the Lions number 20, I think I saw. On his back, Jordan Hendrickson. Now booting that one downfield, it's drifting. Oh, Johan Olsen has done extremely well to keep that ball in the field of play. Had to throw it back inwards. Oh, thought he just kicked it out on the full, but he's all right. It has bounced in the field of play too. Now Jordan Hendrickson looking for distance, trying to use that wind to his advantage. And the ball's back into the 22. Devon Williams trying to ask if a player was offside, but he has managed to chase from behind and come on the Bulls, regroup. It's not over yet, says Helen Howe. Now Richard Creel. Sit downfield to Kutli Arinsa. This man will not want to kick this ball. He has to find the offload to Bruce Puppy as he is shut down instantly. Now going after Akafanda Merva. He's got the man with him. Gets it away to David Creel. Going for the chip of mine. JC Pretorius has got plenty of pace. Creel has got the try though. JC Pretorius, he was waiting for it to go into the in-goal area, and I believe that is now the bonus point try for the Bulls. They're just checking it now. Yep, it is going to be the try, and the Bulls strike back instantly after conceding an evening. Hamish thanks to the commentary, waiting for the Sharks, says Joss. And there as well, and of course their game just around the corner, but great weighted kick there from David Creel. JC Pretorius, he won the foot race, but he waited for the ball to go into the in-goal area rather than taking it back. I'm sorry, but at that stage, you just have all. Did David Creel knock that on, though? We've just seen the other angle. And he might have knocked that ball on David Creel. He is confident that he scored it. But in seeing the replay, I'm not so sure. The on-field decision is try. Right. Here we go. Is there going to be a knock-on from David Creel? So, they want to make sure that there is clear grounding. He's dropped that. Oh! I think he's dropped that. Yep, there's separation. I would call that separation, but I also wouldn't at the same time. It's kind of rolled round onto this part of his hand. You see, I would argue that is a knock. I don't know. It's hard to tell because it depends on the TMO as well. Okay, there's no clear loss of control, so it will stay as an on-field try, and that will be the bonus point for the Bulls. See, I have no idea how the referees are going to interpretate those ones anymore. Interpretate's not a word. Interpret. That's the word I meant. I added an interpret. Wait, no, is interpretate a word? Interpretate doesn't sound right, though. The more I say it, interpret does sound right. Interpret. That's not a word. Surely not. And it's missed from Hawson, but it doesn't matter. The bonus point is still intact for the Bulls here. And he just got it in the end. JC Pretorius too casual. Chase him back. I'm going to look up the word interpretate quickly. Interpretate. Yeah, no, it's interpret. Didn't sound right. Now kicking deep. Taken just outside of the 22 by the Lions. They had half a shot of getting back into this game, and now I feel like they've thrown it away again. Which, to be honest, after this game, not surprising. They haven't really found their A game here. But Jordan Hendrickson, it looks like they still want to go for one more knock on at the back. No one near Edward van der Merwe. He had about maybe 20 metres of open space. Drops a simple pass that went to here. Straight through the bread basket Bulls must now just make sure the match says Alfie. Yeah, I mean, their points differential is already extremely strong throughout the URC competition. Being able to extend that a little bit more wouldn't exactly be a bad thing for the VODACOM Bulls. They will be sitting first on the overall table at the end of this game. And they will be sitting 1 point ahead of Leinster, who are taking on Benetton, but the winner of that Leinster-Benetton match will then overtake the Bulls. So the Bulls, at worst, I believe, will be sitting in either second or third at the end of this round. Which is, you'd happily take that every day of the week. Now, Keegan Johannes got a huge amount of time in this game, but then saying that, we've seen some very good work from Ambrose Papia, so it's understandable why they did decide to not give him too many games. When Bulls playing Leinster, they smashed Leinster. It's a little while till they take them on. I believe it's about 60 days. I think I've got it here. Oh no, they're playing them in 41 days, and then Munster in around that 60-day mark. But it's a home game for Leinster as well. We've got to remember. Front row's going down at scrum time, so we will have another reset here. Next game of rugby that we are covering on the channel, ladies and gentlemen, is only happening in about 13 minutes' time. So it is going to be a very quick changeover between both of these contests. So anyone who is new, be sure to, of course, hit that subscribe button, and also you'll get taken straight over to that next live stream. Okay, the Arsenal game is about to start, so I'm going to watch that. Says BRB, so hopefully you do enjoy it. Hopefully the team that you want to win does win. Now another scrum. Bonus point on the table for the Bulls, so they will walk away with a full 5 for this game. Lions, they have scored just the 1 try coming late in this match, round 71 minutes in. It's gone down front again. Legs getting swept out from underneath the Lions. Front row. Called for another scrum here, the Bulls, who are not in a hurry at all. But I wonder if they'd probably kick for the corner if they had the opportunity here, the Bulls again. They want to get one last, I guess, bit of reward for the pressure that they've been able to create. They have been the strongest side at scrum time, although the Lions have still won 2 scrums, I believe, throughout this contest. So I wouldn't say like it was dominant at scrum time. Their rolling maul has been, though, throughout this game. They've really been able to make good meters and defending the opposition's rolling maul with ease as well. 90 seconds now left on the clock. Big push forward from the Bulls. Marcel Kurtzia gets the offload away to David Krill. Scored the last try of the match. There was a knock on there, I believe, from the Bulls. No, it's going to be play on. There's a bit of obstruction on the player chasing through. Okay. Keegan Johannes just asking the referee, I was dragged back. Is there anything there? And to be fair, he has a point. He was slightly yanked by one of the Lions players, but it will be a goal line dropout with 50 seconds left in the game now. I think the Lions have got a long way to go if they want to get themselves a try here. Jordan Hendrickson just trying to bang it as close to halfway as he can get it. And it's a good kick. It's actually leapt over the top of Johan Horsen. The bounce of the ball. Looks like he's going for the up and under here with 30 seconds remaining. It's going to be put high. Not lined up by the chasing Bulls player. Now Nohamba will show off his pace. Breaking through. But he's been taken down in a good tackle by Kanan Moody. Asking if he's allowed to get the ball. It's going to be a yellow card for Kanan Moody. Ball was never out. I do feel slightly bad for him because he looked to the ref and said, am I allowed to get this? Ref said nothing. So he touched the ball and then he gets yellow carded for it. But Kanan Moody will not be finishing this game. It's been taken off the field. Now that ball has been kicked and touched by Jordan Hendrickson. About 9 metres out from the line. But yeah, he gets up and he looks to the ref and says, am I allowed to? Referee didn't reply, so he went, oh well, I'll try it. See if it works. And now, yeah, he's not on the field. Now, cross kick could be on for the Lions here. I feel like going through the hands hasn't worked for them. They have dropped the ball maybe about 12 times throughout this game, if not more. The rolling maul, of course, first step for the Lions to try and get that a little bit closer to the Bulls try line. Aka van der Merwe staying engaged. Now it looks like they're about to break off the back here. The Lions trying to spin. It's the big man, PJ Botha, 1 metre from the line. And he's going to be just short. It's held up, says AJ Jacobs. They may want to look at that one more time. As he was rolling over, I thought that maybe there might have been a slight brush of the grass, but it will not matter. It is full time now, ladies and gentlemen. And the Bulls have got themselves the victory. 25 points to 10. A comfortable win for a side away from home. Getting it with the bonus point as well, which is absolutely massively beneficial for them moving forward. But now, of course, the next game that we are covering on the channel, ladies and gents, is happening in only 8 minutes' time. We are starting the live stream in 3 minutes. That is between the Sharks and the Stormers. So be sure to stay tuned for that one. If you are new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you all for the next one.